So today on This Is My Journey, we're turning the microphone around. I'm not just hosting, I am sharing my story. So in the UK, we know that these medications, the likes of GLP-1s, are more than a quick fix. And studies show that when people do stop that treatment, much of the weight they have lost can come back. And, while reaching target is such an incredible milestone, staying there and building a life you love afterwards is where so many people struggle. And, for me, I used to weigh 23.4 stone, which is roughly around 149 kilograms. On my journey, I've now managed to drop 9 stone, which is equivalent to 57 kilograms, which makes me now 14.7 stone, 93 kilograms, which is crazy to think. But now I'm in maintenance with my GLP-1, and I want to talk about what really happens next on this journey. So the real journey doesn't just stop when you hit your goal. It essentially evolves. And I've invited 2 of my friends, Emma and Rue, to ask the questions that I get asked all the time, but never really have the chance to answer. So if you're on a GLP-1 or you're just thinking about it, or you're wondering how to live well after that major change, well, this episode is the episode for you. So let's get into it, and I'll hand the reins over to my friends, Emma and Rue. Welcome to This Is My Journey, the podcast where real people share real stories of transformation, resilience, and growth. I'm Marc, and after navigating my own path through major lifestyle change, I created this space to open up honest conversations around identity, mindset, and what it really takes to evolve. So along the way, we'll also hear from professionals, from pharmacists to psychologists and fitness experts who help us make sense of the science and support behind these journeys. So whether you're just starting out, deep in the process, or you're finding your footing after big change, you are not alone. This is your place. This is my journey. Let's walk it together.
Welcome back to This Is My Journey. And today's episode is a little bit different because the person sitting across from us, the one who usually asks all the questions, is the one answering them.
Well, you've heard bits and pieces about Marc's story before the weight loss, the mindset shifts, the ups and downs of GLP, but today we're digging deeper.
So Marc has been on this journey now for over a year. He has lost an incredible 57 kilograms or 9 stone, transformed his health and built a platform on social media of over 300,000 followers and helped thousands of people feel less alone on this journey. But what does life really look like after that kind of transformation?
So we're going to talk about what led him to start GLP, the highs, the lows along the way, which what maintenance really feels like, and how learning to live in his new body physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Marc, we are so proud of you, honestly. From me and Rue, I know we are so proud of you every single day. And it's about time that you tell your full story. So let's start at the beginning. What was the moment that made you say, enough is enough, I need to change my life?
Well, thank you so much, guys, for doing this. I really appreciate it. It's lovely to have my friends interview me. So yeah, initially, some people might know, some people might not know, but my doctor told me about 2 years ago now that I might not make 40. So I really had a lot of health issues. I had problems with my liver, my high blood pressure, cholesterol, just health was deteriorating. And yeah, I just had a very frank conversation with my doctor. He told me I might not live to see 40. It was literally that frank. And yeah, from that moment then, I really just tried to look at ways that I could try and get myself back on some sort of healthy road. And, I did a lot of research and I've tried countless different things, Slimming World, Weight Watchers, all that stuff. And yeah, I think I just really needed some sort of different mechanism or different, I don't know, approach to trying to lose weight, because I've kind of tried everything. Yeah, it was really just about doing my research, moving forward and seeing if I could lose the weight. And, I'd seen a lot of talk about Ozempic and things like that in terms of celebrities taking it in America. I'd seen that it was quite expensive, did not think it would be a reality for me, but had seen that Mounjaro had come out, and I actually seen it first on TikTok. So did a bit of research of where I could maybe get it in the UK, which led me then to starting my journey on a GLP-1 in August 2024. And kind of the rest is history. So I've been on this journey now 15 months. And yeah, it's been life-changing for me.
Oh my God, amazing.
Okay, out of interest, can you remember who was the first person that you saw talking about it on TikTok?
It was actually Well, there was a few different people. So I followed a guy called Josh. So he was the guy that I'd seen doing it. And then there was another girl called Gina. And I watched a lot of her videos. And yeah, and then there was another one called Katie. And between the three of them, I guess they were the three that sort of led me to doing more research. And really, I'd seen that they had started to have results, and all very different results in terms of like how long it was, taking them to get to where they were. But yeah, that was sort of the catalyst.
Amazing.
Mhm.
I know. So obviously that's amazing, Mark. Well done for taking that first step. So a lot of people think taking that first step is the hardest part. What was going through your mind when you first decided, you know what, I'm actually going to start a GLP-1? Did you have any doubts, any fears? Did you come across any sort of stigma like we've spoken before?
Yeah, well, I suppose for me, the biggest thing that was I sort of thought about was my where to get safely, because for me, you know, I just didn't know that it was possible to get it in the UK. So if I was to get it, I wanted to get it from somewhere that I actually knew, because I've seen online pharmacies did, you know, deals to be able to get it and things. And, for me, I just didn't have enough information there to be able to make a really informed decision. So I seen that Boots pharmacy, which we all know, did it. And that was where I started my journey. So I started with them. Like everything, cost was a major factor, which led me then. I think once you're on this journey, you do start to see and understand a little bit better, and where you can get it and where you can't get it, and where is a legitimate provider and stuff. So yeah, that was initially the initial reservations to start. Obviously, as well, we all see the stuff about side effects. Side effects is such a massive part of this journey for a lot of people. So for me, it was again about, doing my research and doing it the right way, so that I was going to limit the side effects. But yeah, ultimately they were probably the two biggest reservations that I had.
Let's talk about those first few weeks, as they can be pretty wild. So, what were they like for you, kind of physically, mentally, emotionally?
I would say the first few weeks, definitely the first 4 weeks are key to really setting yourself up successfully on this journey. And for me, it was all about, prioritizing my protein, making sure my hydration was in, starting to exercise, and yeah, just really looking at my sort of calorie deficit, and just really making sure that I was doing it the best way that I could do it, and commit to it as well. Because I think the biggest issue I find with a lot of people that do start this is people maybe that do want that quick fix, and they do it but don't actually want to do the work either. And there's so much that goes alongside taking these medications, that it's not just you take the medication and it works. There's so much more to it. That would definitely be the biggest thing, I suppose, at the start of this journey, in terms of them first 4 weeks, that I really was conscious that I really wanted to do right. And I have to say, it worked. I suffered very, very limited side effects. I think I had a headache. I know you really always laugh at me, because I always say I always had a sore head, and you were like, "What do you mean a sore head?" And I'm like, "But what I mean is a headache." So I had that at the very start, but outside of that, it was pretty good. Sometimes a little bit of nausea, but I think that's all. These are all very common side effects that you get with a lot of GLP-1 medications, and even a lot of other medications, not just GLP-1s. A lot of medications will give nausea and things like that. So yeah, there are other things you can take to obviously combat them. But yeah, no, I have to say the first 4 weeks for me were definitely were okay, but it was because I did it what I consider the right way. Whereas a lot of
Yeah,
people we don't.
no, definitely.
So it's just picking up on that point that you mentioned then, Mark, about all of the additional work that has to go into being on a GLP-1, because there is a bit of an idea, I think, that GLP-1s can be a quick fix. But, as you've just said there, and with the things that you share online, there is a lot of work that goes into it. So what have you learned about yourself through this process?
I suppose you really have to commit. And, people do think it is just take the job and you're all good, but that is only half the story. Realistically, that helps, but actually you still have to do what you would normally do if you were on any other sort of get fit campaign. That's really about eating healthy and exercising and doing that alongside a calorie deficit, essentially, to lose the weight. But I think, people make these mistakes all the time, in the sense that they don't do that sort of stuff. But for me, I think the research aspect was such a big part to my knowledge and to my being able to do this the right way and have success on it. And I think a lot of people maybe who are thinking about starting this are on it and they're not maybe getting the results, are potentially not doing it the right way. And I think what my advice there would be to kind of step back, have a look at what you're doing and then maybe do a bit of a reset in the sense of go back to basics, prioritizing your protein, all that sort of stuff. Your hydration. Hydration for me was such a big
thing.
thing. Yeah, like 3 liters of water. I know we have all said this from time to time. It's like drink your water, drink your water, drink your water. And it is so true because I have definitely found the more I drunk, that's a bit cliche, but the more I shrunk, like that's just, that's one of them things. But yeah.
Awesome. As your friend would say, drink your water and mind your business, which you have.
100%.
Yeah, and you've done very well, to be honest, Mark. And I think it ties in like nicely with my next question from what Emma's just said. Is about obviously you've started the journey and you're in there now. You've done a few months and you're doing it protein, you're doing your every other day walks, you're drinking your water and you're running your own business. But then what was the turning point? That point when you're like, actually click. When was that for you? And like, when did you actually feel like, okay, I'm in it now, it's working, I'm doing it right, or something has changed? What was the point? What happened? If you can remember.
Yeah, no, I think for me, it was definitely, I can remember the first time looking, well, there's two moments. One was getting into a pair of work trousers was definitely,
wow.
it was that moment was like, oh, I'm losing weight here. This is working. And, I'd noticed things on the scale, but yourself when you look in the mirror and you don't actually see any of them changes. Sometimes it's a physical change that you notice first, as in your body with clothes, as opposed to actually seeing the change in the mirror. For me, it was a very long time seeing that change in the mirror. But once I did see it, it came along really, really quickly. I think for me, yeah, definitely the first thing was them work trousers. I bought a pair of new trousers because I was starting to go down the weight on the scales. And yeah, it was really just a case of it didn't fit me, and all of a sudden they did fit me, and it was that was a big moment. I was like, yes, I can remember like jumping at the top of the stairs, like they fit, even though they weren't that much smaller to what I was getting, but they were smaller, so it was a win. And then, like I say, that the next time was probably when I actually noticed it in the mirror, and I noticed that it was more my jawline. I'd noticed that I had a bit more of a jawline than I had before. It was less double chin and more jawline. So yeah, so that was my next moment. But yeah, I think once you start noticing them moments, then they all start coming thick and fast because your body is changing, and I think you just got to give yourself grace and time to allow your body to get to that point. This is not sprint. It's slow and steady wins the race, as I always say. So yeah, just allow yourself the time to get to them non-scale victory moments where you're like things are working and you're seeing the changes.
That's nice. So I think it's nice for you to be able to acknowledge that it wasn't that quick, and when you started seeing yourself change, it wasn't something you'd wear every day to work,
Yeah.
And again, my next question would be, once you see that change or people see the change, how was your support system? Like how was your support system? Because I know this journey, we've all said it before, it can be lonely. There can be a million of us on this journey, Mark, but you'll feel so lonely whilst doing it. So for you, I'm wondering, obviously we're your friends, and you've got family, but what's kept you grounded? What has your support system been like? Not everybody's lucky, but some of us are lucky to have a support system. So
yeah.
What difference has that made in this whole journey?
I suppose for me, like, there's the usual ones, like you just said there, like your friends and family my friends and family have 100% been really, really supportive. I haven't had really any negative thoughts about it or comments about it from friends or family. I think most people, anybody that has had some sort of thought, it's been more out of curiosity of what is this? What does it do? Is it safe? To which obviously I've done my research. I'm able to tell them yes. But yeah, outside of that, I would definitely say, in general, most people have been very, very supportive. I should add that, even in work and things like that, I find people have been very supportive. You do get the odd person that maybe is just like disagree with medication in general, I think. And I think because these are quite new in the sense of the media and out there in the public, I think the media has sort of tainted the view on them a little bit. But, that's all about views as opposed to what they actually do and how much money they're actually going to save the NHS down the line and things like that in terms of, reducing obesity overall. But definitely the online community, I have to say, like you guys, like we would never have met, we would never have even spoken or even knew any of us existed if it wasn't for the likes of TikTok or Instagram and things like that. So yeah, like for me, definitely the community online has been incredible. There are, nuances there as well. And some characters that maybe, you wish you maybe hadn't encountered online. But yeah, for the most part, I think the community on there is great, and it's really great for sharing tips. It's really great for just sharing your experiences, and also like just documenting your journey in general, because like that's why I started TikTok in the first place. It was to hold myself accountable for my journey, and almost just to treat it as a diary for my weight loss. So yeah, it's been definitely community wise, but yeah, friends and family have definitely been my rocks through this. And yeah, the added family now that I have in terms of like TikTok and all that there, like I never would have anticipated this would have grown into what it has grown into. But yeah, I'm so grateful. And, there's nothing more that I love every day seeing people messaging me, and you guys are the same, people message us and just thanking you for, inspiring them to start their journeys and things like that. And just, I suppose, documenting, your struggles, because being that real, vulnerable person
Yeah.
resonates with people, and people appreciate that, because that's the reality. When people don't like anything that's sugarcoated, it's just give me the real every day.
Every day.
Thank goodness for TikTok, eh?
Mm.
That's it.
Right. So I'm after a scoop now for our listeners. So, Mark, let's get to a hard one, shall we? What has been the toughest part of your journey so far? The bit that maybe you're not sharing on your platforms?
I would have to say I'm very honest in terms of what I do share, but I think there's maybe 2 points to this. One is definitely the mental struggle. People don't talk about this enough. The mental struggle of this journey is very, very real. Just trying to get your head around being the person that you're not anymore is really, really hard. Looking in the mirror and not seeing that, because you do still see the person that was maybe there before, and it takes a long time for that to shift. And even now, 15, 16 months down the line, I'm still really struggling with that. But, that's the reality of this journey. But like we've just said there before, I think the community on social media and like that is really great, because me sticking up a video talking about this and having so many people comment underneath it or DM or whatever and say, I totally get what you're going through. I feel this too. It definitely makes you feel less alone. And, for me, that really brings encouragement and support that maybe other people in your life, friends and family, can't actually give you, because they don't have that experience. So yeah, definitely I would say that is one of the biggest struggles. I think outside of this journey and just documenting it on TikTok and social, it is a struggle with certain people on social media and stuff as well, and just trying to combat the negativity side of it. But for the most part, it is really good. But I would say, yeah, overall in terms of this journey, everything has been great. But my big lesson would be really work on your mental health just as much as the physical, because it is such a shift that you're going to go through in terms of your whole person, that you have to work on that whole holistic approach to health and your well-being.
Definitely.
So, just picking up on what you've mentioned there about your mental health. So, how has your relationship with your body changed since losing 57 kilograms? Like you mentioned about looking in the mirror and maybe not seeing the new you. So, do you ever feel like new you, or do you still feel like the same person from last year?
No, I think it's a really great question. And it is one, like I say, I'm still working on it every day. I probably will for a long time to come, because you guys know as much as I do, when you live in your body for so long and you're a certain size, that's who you see. And when you're not that, it definitely, I think because this medication, like for me, this medication changed me, not super fast, but fast enough that my brain couldn't keep up with it. So, I think it is a hard question to answer, but it's one just that I'm working on every day. And it is a process. I think for anybody that is listening out there that's going through it, you'll all understand what I mean whenever I'm hoping that eventually I will come to like not come to terms with it, but more adjust to the fact, and it'll not be something that I'm so conscious about all the time. But it is a tough question to answer, because it's one that I'm still kind of going through. So it's very real.
You're still processing, isn't it?
Yeah, still processing, because this body is essentially, it's a new body. It's not. Yes, it is my body, but it's not one that I have ever been used to, how it feels or looks. And don't get me wrong, I love how my new body feels and how it looks. And I want it even to look better than what it looks like, which is why I want to like work a lot more on my fitness and stuff. But yeah, I just think it's always going to be a work in progress. But then, in reality, our bodies are always a work in progress. think of anybody going to the gym or any, fitness buffs out there. I know, Emma, you love your gym, or you do too, in terms of your workouts and stuff. And, I think I'm going to say your body is your temple, so you got to worship it. I think we know you love your body. Your body is a temple. You remind us of it every day. But yes, literally, guys, I'm not even joking. If you tune into Rue's lives, it's like, oh, look at my body.
Oh, yes, honey.
Literally every day. I don't know if you resonate with what I'm saying because you have the body confidence of, I don't know. But yeah.
I think that is such a good answer, even though we're saying it's a hard answer, because I think there will be so many listeners at home now resonating with everything that you've said there. I certainly do.
Yeah.
I know. And I like what you said, Marc, about that new you. And I think it's taken so long for all of us and you sitting there for us to actually accept that. I think people can accept us out there, but we have to accept ourselves as well. Yeah. And I think you've done that so incredibly well. And so has Emma, to be honest. So fast forward, Marc, you've done it. 57 kilos. Even saying it sounds like, I'm like, come on, friend, take it. You're now what's called maintenance mode, right?
Yes.
You're maintaining and you're moving, you're grooving, and you're doing it, honey. So what does maintenance actually look like? And what surprised you the most?
Yeah, well, I suppose for me, maintenance it's literally just about maintaining. So obviously for me, I'm still on the medication. I have not come off it. It's part of my maintenance plan. And yes, I'm just, suppose, taking every day as it comes. I'm not trying to obsess too much over the scales. I'm trying to maintain my weight. And the big thing I'm trying to drum into everybody is once you reach maintenance, it is not about staying that exact weight for the rest of your life. That is never going to happen. That's so unrealistic. You're going to fluctuate. You're going to go lower than that, lower than what your goal weight is. You're going to go higher than what your goal weight is. The key is to always checking in with yourself. If you are going over, that you're maybe doing something to try and bring yourself back down again. So for me, it's always going to be a work in progress. But yeah, I'm just trying maybe now not to be as serious as I maybe would have been on my journey to losing weight, because now that I'm maintaining, I don't need to lose weight anymore. So that's, talking about that, we're adding in extra calories and things like that. So yeah, maintenance is going well. I've enjoyed my summer, and we're coming up to Christmas now, and that's going to be another challenge in itself, because as we all know, the drinks, the food, all that stuff. So yeah, no, maintenance it's a different ball game altogether to being on your journey, because you do have a lot more temptations now and things like that. But that's also the beauty of, I suppose, me still taking the medication, because I'm still not having that food noise. And whereas I maybe would have had a packet of biscuits in one night, now I'm only having one or two, which is it's a big difference.
Amazing. And I think it's so nice that you are here, Marc, and you're at the end, or rather you've reached where you want to be, and you're maintaining and you're doing that part of the journey now. But let's say there's Barbara out there and she's thinking, I need to start. It's my day one. I need to start the research. I need to do something to help myself. What would you tell Barbara? Barbara, if you're listening, listen up.
Well, Barbara. Barbara, I hope you're listening. If there is a Barbara right there, let me know. Yeah, I would say if anybody is thinking about starting, key to starting is, main thing, do your research. If you are going to follow people on social media, make sure you're following the right people. There's so many people out there. It gives a wrong advice, gives, things that you maybe shouldn't do. I have always been a massive advocate of doing things the right way, and I've got the results doing it the right way. So there's no need to do things the wrong way. So definitely do your research. If you're going to go with a provider, make sure their provider is GPHC registered, because there's so many fakes and scammers out there that you don't want to get caught up in that black market. And do it the right way, in the sense of what I've been saying there. Do your, your healthy eating, prioritizing your protein and all that, hydration. And the big thing is enjoy it, because, this journey it can be a long journey, and it will be for the rest of your life. So, enjoy losing the weight. That's my biggest regret, is not enjoying it fully. And I think if I was to do it again now, it would be completely different, in the sense that I would definitely enjoy the wins that I was having on my journey a lot more.
Well, on behalf of Barbara, thank you. And Barbara feels more comfortable now. So go for it, Barbara.
You can do it, Barbara.
Yes, Barbara, you can do it.
So, final question, Marc. So, what is next for you? And I don't just mean like the platforms, the podcast, but about you as a person. Where do you see your journey and yourself evolving from here?
So it's such a really hard question to answer, but right now, I'm just, like I've just said previously there, I'm enjoying being in my body. You know, a lot of people talk about loose skin and things like that. I've never really had it. You know, I am considering, I have a bit of a genetic sort of neck condition in terms of loose skin and stuff in my neck. So I'm talking to maybe someone that can work with that and help me deal with that. That's something that's separate, obviously, to being on this journey. But yeah, I think for me, that is kind of what's next. You know, I looked at a lot of aesthetic stuff and all, because once you get down to the size you want to be, you kind of want to look your best. So, you know, and I am a massive advocate of, as long as you feel your best, do whatever makes you happy. So yeah, for me, it's just about working on my body. And, you know, like I say, I want to look at my fitness a lot more, really start to work on building muscle and toning up and getting the body shape that I actually really want. And yeah, just I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I love doing social media stuff. I'm just going to continue doing that because I know so many people now value what we all do. But yeah, who knows what the future holds in terms of things, you know, opportunities hopefully will arise over the next few months, years or whatever, who knows. But yeah, no, for the minute I'm just enjoying life in this new body and mind, and enjoying all the new friends and our lovely outings that we have been getting up to lately and all that there. So, but yeah, on behalf of me, I suppose just to finish up, thank you so much, guys, for giving up your time, for asking me the questions, because, you know, it's it's easy me sitting and asking everybody else questions and asking you guys questions, but it's definitely not just as easy answering them all. So I really appreciate you taking the time to answer the questions. And yeah, who knows what the future holds for all of us.
Just to say thank you, Mark. You know, obviously, yes, we are friends, but I think for me and Emma, for me personally, you have been incredible. The highs and lows, you know, you've been quite an amazing support system and network for me. So keep doing what you're doing. And friend, the sky is the limit. And enjoy that body. Enjoy your body.
Yes, thank you, Mark, for allowing us to ask you the questions, to get our own back on you and continue being you and being that inspiration to me and Rue and everybody else.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Peace out.